Welcome, everybody, to the first Wilkes-Barre Junior Penn's U18 wrap-up show of the season. This past weekend, we had a showcase where we actually had 4 games, came out of it 2-2. And what we're going to do here is present some of the goals that we had, some of the goals the other team had, and just some basic highlights so that everyone can kind of keep track of what's going on and hopefully learn from what we were doing. The first game that we played was against the Red Bank Generals, and they were no slouches. That was kind of was what was predicted too. They're a AA team. So going into this, I figured that this was going to be our toughest game. So let's get in, let's see what we did, and let's at least see our highlights of this and go from there.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
Two to 6 was the final result of that game, where there were, it was a rough game. It was a good start. Our first goal of the season by Joey Baranowski, and another goal added by Mac Weisgable. From what I saw of the team, I don't know, personally, I kind of think that we can eventually beat them. Don't forget, we only had 2 practices with the team so far this season. Hopefully we'll be able to kind of pull things together, get some of our passing going, a little bit more passing, and step up to the level. I don't think this is an unbeatable team. I think if we meet them later on in the season, it'll be a much better result than what we've gotten today. So keep our heads up, keep moving forward, and let's get ready to take a look at the next game. And our second game of the showcase was against the Peconic Wildcats. Now, this was a sharp contrast to the Red Bank Generals. The Red Bank Generals were much more physical and much more skilled, to be perfectly honest. What we want to do is we want to step up our game and kind of get into this. Let's take a look at the clips and find out what we can learn from them. those were our goals. The only big thing with the goals, the first goal was by Mac from Nick. The second goal was actually by Zach from Joey and Nate. It was credited actually to Gavin from Nate. Hopefully we could get that corrected. And the final goal was Nick from Mac and Gabe. And the other stat correction I think we need for this game is I believe Brent did not get the start on paper here, although he did play in net for us that game. But I'd say the biggest thing wasn't necessarily our goals. It was kind of the lack of the scoring. Compared to the game that we just played before them, this is a perfect example of how a team can play to the level of their opponent. We were much harder hitting. We were much faster in the first game, even though we did come up short. This game, realistically, we should have been able to manhandle the team and take control of the entire game. Hopefully, next time we play them, that'll be the case, where we won't let them dictate the level of the play. We'll dictate it. We'll dictate how physical we are as opposed to, the other team. The next part of this game that I have, and here's the next clip, is, to be honest, we kind of got lucky even coming out of that with a win. It could have easily been a tie game, and let's see the clip and we'll see why. And that clip just kind of shows that was actually called a no goal. And from where I was at the complete other end of the rink, so I couldn't see it very good. And even with this video clip, I couldn't really see what was going on with it. Just by watching the clip, I really couldn't tell you why that wasn't a goal. I'm sure some of the players on the ice would be able to say. But again, just kind of a lucky situation. We'll take the win, but we're going to play these guys a few more times. So hopefully we won't leave it up to luck, and we'll take charge and take those games. So let's move on to the next game. And after a late game Friday night, we get a nice 7 a.m. start for our next game against New York City Cyclones, AA team from New York City, I'm assuming. And traditionally, we haven't been very good in the mornings, especially the early mornings. I think if it was up to our team, we would probably play every game between 11 and 1, and we would be very well rested and very happy to do that as long as we get a good night's sleep. Because I'm sure there were a lot of players not sleeping very well in the hotel last night, the night before. But let's take a look at the goals. We came out of this with a 5-3 win, so let's take a look. So we got the win there with a score of 5-3. First goal was unassisted with Gavin, unassisted. Not to be undone. The second goal is Mac, unassisted. Mac had the next goal from Anthony. Gavin had the fourth goal from Ryan. And the final goal was unassisted, was Nate, unassisted. Now, big thing about that one, too, is it was nice to see that we did play much better game than we did both games yesterday, or the day before this game. We did give up a whole lot of shots, though, so our goalie, Andrew, he had a little bit of a tough time giving up 39 shots to our 23, so hopefully we can kind of step that up a little bit more and keep the shots up there and keep going with the season. So let's take a look at our last game for the showcase. Ho, ho, ho. The Mustangs. This was the game we were all waiting for. The matchup. We wanted to come out on top here, but it wasn't to be. We came up a little bit lame and quite a bit short. Final score was 2-6 for the Mustangs. So let's take a look at our highlights of that one. Our 2 goals.
Oh, slash.
Nice. And there you have it. Our few highlights of that game. You know, we can make all the excuses we want. This was our 4th game in in 2 days. This was actually their first game of the showcase, so they were a little bit more fresh, but still nothing that we shouldn't have been able to counter. I'm hoping that we do meet up with these guys again in the future at one of the next showcases or so. I hope that we can redeem ourselves. But just to remind everybody and to keep everything real, after this, I do have the clips of the Mustang goals. So let's take a look at those and see how we can improve. Thank you very much. Enjoy the clips, and we will see you next time.